So let's go over initially this.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went online and I talked to some people who know music, and online they had whole, half, and so on for diminished.
Okay. For diminished what?
Scale.
Okay.
Yeah. Now a chord is going to be whole step, half step, so G, B flat, D flat. That's
right.
That's what defines it as a G diminished.
Right.
Okay. Now.
And one quick thing.
Okay, yeah.
So, and to be specific, that diminished is a type of triad. Well, last time we were talking about,
okay.
And there are only 4 kinds of triads.
Right.
And
2 whole steps, 2 halves, one and a half, or one more. Well, one half step in there, or 2 half steps, or 2 whole steps, or half step comes first and then the whole steps.
Well,
is that the combination?
Well, the distance of a third can only be a step and a half or 2.
Right.
So it's the 2 combinations that, or the 4 combinations that you have
4, yeah.
of those 2 distances. Okay, and this is small, small.
Yes.
So because that's the way a diminished scale works.
Right.
A diminished scale is very odd in one respect, and it's in that
it's coming out.
It doesn't have 7 notes in it.
Ah, you see, I'm thinking. Wait a minute. Back in my mind, Neil told me that you can't have
right.
a couple of E's or a couple of D's. It's got to be, and you can't eliminate one.
Right.
So the scale has to have all the letters, and then you're done.
Okay.
So I looked it up, and then I found. Well, I'm thinking.
So there's a problem here.
There, exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought I can't put that E in there.
I got an E flat or whatever.
I got an E flat. How can I have an E flat and an E? So, but that's the only way it's done, right?
Well, so the no.
Oh,
So I think that this is probably a 1-minute explanation, or at least a comment, maybe. When we talked about all the different modes that are built on the way our keyboard is laid out.
The modes. I thought I brought the modes here. I guess I don't.
Okay.
I had it anyway.
But when we talked about modes, the 7 modes were based on patterns we got from the white keys. So C to C gives us 1 pattern, and I'm talking only white keys. D to D gives us each one puts. How many half steps do we have in a major scale? I mean, how many times do we have a half step between neighboring
2
notes? 2. All of the modes have that. They all have 2 half steps in them. What makes one different than the next is where those 2 spots are. Okay, that's the end of the mode review.
Oh, really?
For now. Yeah, because that's all I wanted to establish right there.
Okay.
Okay, and then I want to know where you were on the night of the murder. Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but so we have 12 half steps in our octave. We have a total of 12 notes that in our musical universe.
Okay.
Right? If what we're calling a scale, there are lots of different kinds of scales. Those 7 modes have one thing in common in that they have 2 half steps and 5 whole steps in them. They also have the distance between the half steps is fixed. In other words, there's no spot where we have a half and then a whole, then another half. Because our natural half steps are not that close to each other. They're E and F and B and C. They're spread out further.
So never 2 halves.
They couldn't be back to back.
Okay.
Okay? In the modes.
In the modes.
Okay? But we have a thing called a chromatic scale. What's that?